Hello everyone! In today's episode of What's This? We're going to take a look at this. A claw. And while it looks like some torture device from a Bond movie, or something that right away out of a horror movie, this is actually a watchmaker's tool. Now, what could we use this for? That's a very good question. That's what this episode of What's This about. So, it comes with this, but that probably doesn't help much, I guess. So, where could we use a claw for? Well, to grab something, probably. And that's exactly what this is for. This claw is used to remove plexiglasses from watches. Now, why would you use this to remove a watch crystal, like a plexiglass watch crystal? Well, there can be multiple reasons for it. Sometimes there's watches you just have to they don't have a back you can open, because normally if you would take the back out, take the movement out, you can just press the crystal out with your two fingers. But sometimes you don't have that. You need to open everything from the front. So that means that you either grab it out, or what some people ought to do is sometimes there's a pump for it. You put pressure on it and then the glass pops out. But that's not always the option. Some cases are not airtight enough to do that, so you got to use the claw. The claw is also a really good way to place a watch crystal. It's a cheap way. There's one downside to it, that is that with the claw you can damage the side of the glass. You can have little marks if you don't use it properly. But yeah, that's what the claw is used for. So let's show that in action. So you would open it up, put your watch in, and then you would tighten it. So you would tighten it. I don't want to grab the side of the watch, of course. I want to grab the side of the crystal. Now it's important that you don't want to just pull. You want to turn it until you can feel it coming. Now a bit more. Just a bit more. And I slid off. Not yet. Not yet. Do I have it? Yeah. There we go. So that's how you would remove it. So now I can just place it back, and then untighten it, and the crystal's back in, like nothing happened. But let's say I just want to, let's say I want to place it with this tool. Well, that's where, come on, there we go. That's where this would come in, because now I have it at the exact, I'm grabbing it at the exact distance correctly to place it back. But let's say I don't really have that. So I want to place this crystal in there. That's where this comes in. So we can see we have here the little screw, and then you just put the glass in, you clamp it with a little screw like you tightened up, and then now this actually acts like a depth gauge, because there's a lip on here that allows you to not go too deep, because if you go too deep, if you just put your glass right on the end, you're never getting it in. So now let's grab it. Let's see if I have it tight enough. Not tight enough, so you need to get it tight enough so you can get it in. You need to squeeze it, and now we squeezed it enough, and now we can release, and it's in. So that's how yeah, the claw, not a torture tool, but a very versatile watchmaker's tool that like you sometimes need for the odd jobs. Yeah. So about the claw itself, it's basically just, if I open it completely up, you can see you just have, yeah, there's two washers in here, but it's basically just you have the spring here. On some models it is a rubber, like a really thick elastic band, and you basically, just by pulling it in, you are squeezing it together, and yeah, it releases on its own by the spring. You can sometimes buy this on eBay pretty cheap, because the elastic band is deteriorated and people don't know you can replace them. But yeah, there are places that just sell you the elastic band or a spring like this. I would prefer the spring, because the springs probably go for a very long while. So if you can pick up a broken one for cheap, I would do it and just buy one of those. So I'll put this one back together. Then one washer here. And put the tumbler back on. So yeah, always make sure you get this as well if you buy one second hand, because, well, you will need it at one point. All the watchmakers used to do it without this. They would just have a feel for it and just be like, boop, and it was correct. But I found it rather hard to do it with this one. This one isn't ideal. It's a little bit too high. Sometimes I do put like a piece of a thin piece of cardboard in here to make it less high. But for this watch, it worked well. But definitely, if you have one that's like here, the edge is straight and then curves. But if you have one that immediately starts to curve, sometimes at this thickness you get a little bit above, and you're taking it on the curved part and it does not work. But yeah, usually for most things it works. So that was the what's this about the claw. It's not a torture device from a Bond movie. No, well, probably could use to torture someone with it, but hey, for me it's just a watchmaker's tool. I hope you liked this episode of What's This, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.